some fun. These are some of the cards we're going to make today, and starting off with card number 7 of our part 2 series. I have some glitter strips here and some pieces that I took from one of the designer pieces of paper. I used circle dies and some scallop circle dies. I'm stamping Happy Anniversary here with the Brutus Monroe stamp set, again from part 1, and using some Distress Oxide in Twisted Citron. I'm going to pop this up now with some of my foam tape from the dollar store. As I watch some of the other videos out there, I notice I'm not the only one who likes the dollar store foam tape. I think it works pretty good. And again, this is a 5x7 card that I'm making. I don't know why, I think I prefer that size a little bit more. Gives you more room to write and feels like I'm a little bit more in competition with Hallmark. I'm going to get these center piece on here now and trim off the edge. And once I start placing my pieces, I'll be using glossy accents and a little bit of foam tape. I'm going to leave you with some music so that you can just enjoy the process. I believe this is 8 times. I've had to MacGyver my movie editing a little tiny bit. Obviously I'm learning as I go. Hopefully you guys can see the difference. If you see some of the things that I've changed and think that I've done better, or if there's something that I'm doing that needs to be improved, pass me a comment. I'd love to know which cards you like as well. So now I'm adding some sequins, and they're just flat instead of metallic, shiny sequins just from the dollar store. I'm going to also add some glossy accents to the center of my flowers, just give them a little bit more sparkle and dimension. I also add some extra little dots of glossy accent on the white part, and that's pretty much going to finish this card for today. I didn't put in the footage where it showed me cutting the extra edges off, but you will see in the final photo that those overlapping flowers did get cut off. And that's card number 7. And now we're on to card number 8. I used the hexagon pattern paper as well as the Dries hexagon pattern embossing folder. And from the letter it's set, this scripty thanks. I also am going to be using the Ranger embossing powder in white that came with the kit with the sentiments. And I made the mistake of using this ink. I thought it was going to be white enough. I think it's Creative Memories. Then I decided, well, I'll put some embossing powder on it and see how that does. And once I heated it up, well, not a good idea. So I got out my stamping platform and got out some proper ink, the Ranger embossing ink, and gave that a go. A little bit of stamped CPR on the platform just to make sure that it got in there okay, and that I added the embossing powder. And once I got it on this time, it was a much better job, and thank goodness I was able to line that up. Here's my fancy one-handed dumping feet. Luckily I didn't make a big mess with that. And you can see here, once I'm melting the embossing folder, it is a lot better. I also got a Micron microfine pen here in black, and I just wanted to highlight the outlines of that thanks, just to get it to show up a little tiny bit better. And then I'm going to pop that up with, yes, some more dollar store foam tape. So I go through a lot of this stuff. I should buy shares or I don't know, something like that, but maybe someday I'll end up with the 3M tape. Give that a try, but right now this is what's affordable for my craft room. So I get these pieces lined up here, and so this is a little trick that I have where I use the Zig 2-way glue pen and just either use a micro brush, or I think everybody got these in the kits recently from Hero Arts, or it might have been Simon Says Stamp. But if you want to use them that way, you can use them for placing all of your sequins. So I got out some cheap embroidery thread, just gave a couple lines of that around, and I'm getting this all lined up here. Luckily I don't stab myself in the hand. And I'm going to put this other piece in place here. These are just the sequins that I buy, just again from the dollar store. And again, one more mistake. Don't try and add the glue to the sequin and then glue it down, put the glue on the paper and move the sequin to it. And again, this is a 5x7 card base. It's just the heavy duty stock from Michaels, and that's that card finished. And here we start with card number 9. I picked out some papers from the kit, as well as black paper and a coordinating blue paper that I found in my stash that matched. And I'm going to be using this stamp set again, the Hello, and it's from the Ranger Scripty Greetings set. I'm also using some Ranger Archival ink, and I'll ink this up and get it stamped on my pre-cut piece. Looks like I did a pretty good job stamping that. And so now I'm going to go ahead and use my ATG, just add some tape and start assembling my layers here. This is the set that I used. It's a Nellie's frame set. And I'm going to put on some foam tape, and this is just again the dollar store foam tape, and I'll pop that up and then mount this piece on my card front. And now I'm going to get some tape, and I've got some ribbon here pre-cut. I'm going to put some tape pieces on the back once I get them lined up and attach them to the back of my card. Of course, that's my very, very old tape cutter. I skipped that from my husband's office. Works pretty good. I haven't perfected this technique. Maybe I should put the ribbon in place first and then add the tape. I'm not sure, but at least I finally did get it in place. So then I go back and I pick these stickers off the sticker sheet that match the paper, and I'm going to lay the largest one just flat and let it stick with its own adhesive, and then the second one, smaller one, I'm gonna pop up with a little piece of foam tape and attach that just slightly below and in front of it. And then I'll go ahead and cut off that extra stem that's hanging down in the way. And then I've also pre-tied a bow from this Offray ribbon that I was using, which I seem to be like all the rest of the crafters where tying these things on video just seems to be a horrendous task. So I use my zip dry glue. I like that because it adheres really well and stays in place. And then I added some glossy accents to adhere some black sequins on the front of this card. And this is my card base, is 5x7. I'll just get that attached up here. And voila, this card is done. And here we are with card number 10. I have one of my little homemade mini ink pads with Wild Honey Distress Oxide ink from Tim Holtz, and just a striped background stamp here. And I'm just adding a couple little borders. And I've got a stamp set here from Hero Arts with some greetings. I'll list it on the bottom, and some unicorn ink. I'm going to emboss this with some white Ranger embossing powder as well. Not sure why I didn't use a Versamark or a sticky embossing ink, but this was what was handy, so here it is. And I'm going to put some of my embossing powder on that and give it a little tap, make sure it's covered well. And I already have my cleaning up first, sorry. And then off to the side I have my heat tool already heating up, and I'm going to get that melted all nice. And it did show up and work pretty well. I guess maybe if you use that ink on something smaller it works a little bit better. Now I'm adding some ATG to the ephemera piece that I cut off the front sheet in the kit. I'm going to trim a little bit of this off so that it's not in the way of my greeting. And then line this up to show a little bit of a border. And I'm going to add some of that awesome dollar store foam tape here. Just pop it up a little bit. And some more ATG for my center panel that's going to go over top of the background stamping here. Just get that lined up. And then I'll add some ATG to this decorative strip that I cut from some of the darker colored paper, and line that along the side as a little bit of an accent and border. And then I'm just going to pull these little flags off my sticker sheet here, and I will attach them to the side of my popped up ephemera piece. And I'm going to line them up just so that the words are right at the edge of the border here. And it says love, joy, home, and then obviously the greeting, you did it, which anybody who gets a home, that's an accomplishment, so they should all get a pat on the back for that. And I've lined this up kind of kitty wampus on a piece of paper that was in my stash, that same piece of paper that I used for the previous card. Just attach that down here. And now I'm using a Martha Stewart confetti hearts punch. It's a oldie but goodie, and cuts out lots of nice little hearts. And I'm going to attach those down with some glossy accents. Find that adheres. And obviously I've lost my little stick it tool that I demonstrated in an earlier video. I think maybe I need something either with a string on it, or maybe a little bit bigger so I don't lose it. But anyways, here I am sticking my hearts down, try and line them up nicely, and then I'll go ahead and add some ATG to a card base. Again, I get those at Michael's. They're 110 pound, just white paper. And now I'm going to put some glossy accents just to highlight the windows. Just the top windows. I don't know why I didn't do the other ones. And then I'm going to add some glossy accents to the hearts and just make them pop out a little bit. Of course, you can see my lovely housecoat sleeve there. I don't know if you crafters craft in comfy clothes too, or late at night, but this was definitely done late at night, so I find sometimes that's when I have the best time to craft. And that's my final card finished. Thank you for joining me today at My Crafty Greetings. I'm Sharon Luska. Please subscribe, comment, and give me a thumbs up if you wish, and have a great day.